July 27, 2008, Boston, Massachusetts. A wealthy father is on a supervised visit with his 7-year-old daughter. A social worker watches from a few feet away. It's a normal Sunday on a quiet, expensive street. Then an SUV pulls up. The father shoves the social worker aside, grabs his daughter, and jumps into the vehicle. The social worker clings to the side of the car as it speeds away, dragged along the pavement before she falls free. And just like that, they're gone. The man's name is Clark Rockefeller, and the FBI has just launched a nationwide manhunt for a member of one of America's most powerful families. But what the FBI doesn't know is that Clark Rockefeller doesn't exist. For 6 frantic days, the FBI searches for the millionaire kidnapper. They get a tip that leads them to Baltimore, Maryland, to an apartment purchased by a man named Charles "Chip" Smith. Agents devise a plan. They call the apartment, pretending to be from the local marina. They tell Chip his boat is taking on water. As he walks out of his apartment to check on the boat, the FBI swarms him. He's arrested. His daughter is found inside, safe. They run his fingerprints, and the results are stunning. He isn't Clark Rockefeller. He isn't Charles "Chip" Smith. His name is Christian Karl Gerhartsreiter, a German citizen who came to America 30 years earlier and vanished. The kidnapping was solved, but a much, much darker mystery was just beginning. To understand the man who called himself Rockefeller, you have to go back to the beginning. Back to 1978, when a 17-year-old Christian Gerhartsreiter arrived in America from a small town in Bavaria. He bounced around using fake stories to get by. He even married a woman just to get a green card and left her the very next day. By 1985, he was in San Marino, California, living under a new name, Christopher Chichester. He was a charming, eccentric man who claimed to be a British aristocrat. He moved into the guest house of a woman named Didi Sohus and quickly befriended her son, Jonathan, and his wife, Linda. And then, Jonathan and Linda Sohus disappeared. Hugh Chichester told friends they'd gone to Europe on a secret mission. But shortly after they vanished, he was pulled over by police, driving Jonathan's pickup truck. Before they could question him further, he fled. He surfaced in Connecticut as Christopher Crowe, a TV producer. He got a job at a brokerage firm, but was fired when they discovered he was using the social security number of serial killer David Berkowitz. Again, he ran. This time, he invented his masterpiece, his final, perfect identity. In 1995, he became Clark Rockefeller. He married Sandra Boss, a brilliant, high-earning executive at McKinsey. He never worked a day in his life, living entirely off her multi-million-dollar income. He was a member of exclusive clubs, a collector of fine art, a man of immense, inherited wealth. It was all a lie. For 12 years, he fooled everyone, his wife, his friends, the entire Boston elite. But his controlling, secretive nature eventually became too much. In 2007, after his wife discovered his entire life was a fabrication, she divorced him and took custody of their daughter. And 1 year later, a desperate man with nothing left to lose decided to take his daughter back by force. The FBI had their man, the kidnapper, the imposter. But California investigators had been waiting for this day for 23 years. Because they remembered the couple who vanished in 1985, Jonathan and Linda Sohus. And they remembered what was found in their backyard in 1994. Human bones. A man's skeleton, buried for nearly a decade. His skull had been fractured with a blunt object. His body had been cut into 3 pieces. For years, they couldn't prove who the victim was, but with new DNA technology, they finally confirmed it. The bones belonged to Jonathan Sohus, the man who disappeared right after befriending the charming aristocrat in his mother's guest house. and buried with the body were 2 plastic bags. One from a university where Christian Gerhartsreiter had attended classes, the other from a university where he audited film school. They had him. In 2013, 28 years after the murder, Christian Gerhartsreiter, the man who called himself Clark Rockefeller, was found guilty of the first-degree murder of Jonathan Sohas. He was sentenced to 27 years to life in prison. He is currently in San Quentin State Prison. His deceptions were finally over. Was he a brilliant con man, a master of disguise, or just a common killer who used fake names to hide a terrible secret? He fooled the world for 30 years. He stole names, fortunes, and lives. He took a daughter from her mother. He took a son from his family. And somewhere out there, the mystery of what happened to Linda Sohas remains unsolved. The man who was everyone left behind a legacy of nothing but pain.